Welcome, I'm Dr. Janine Bowring, naturopathic doctor, and today I'm talking about mold toxicity and 9 symptoms of mold toxicity. So some of the things that you wouldn't necessarily expect with having mold toxicity in your body is that you could be generally pretty healthy. And the other side of this, though, is that maybe you've got some indescriptive, types of symptoms happening in your body. You're not quite sure what it is. Maybe you've seen multiple practitioners and doctors. They can't really pinpoint what's going on. Your blood work is normal, and nothing is really standing out to doctors nor to yourself that things are not the way that they should be, but yet you feel that you're just off, you're not yourself. And that is often a telltale sign of having mold toxicity in your body. So you'll appreciate some of the more overt symptoms, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But this is common, and some people are on multiple types of medications or regimens to try to get healthier because they don't feel quite right, but that could be a telltale sign of this mold toxicity. So one, again, of the big grouped reactions of having mold toxicity is allergic reaction. So now these are the more sort of in-your-face types of symptoms of having mold toxicity, which can point a practitioner, if they know what to look for, in the direction of now treating and dealing with the toxicity from mold. So whether that's sinus congestion, frequent sneezing, and having a runny nose, and this is often, you would think it would be related to maybe seasonal allergies, but in fact, you're actually reacting to the mold that could be in your environment and you don't know that it's there. As well as having a chronic cough and even a chronic sore throat that sort of comes and goes, can be related to mold toxicity as well. Having red eyes and even blurry vision, so in terms of, if this is chronic, again, can be related to mold exposure. Also having rashes on the skin and itchiness on the skin can also be a reaction to mold toxicity. Having difficulty breathing in terms of asthma, so the actual spasming in the bronchioles, can also be related to mold toxicity, and even shortness of breath, so inability, to catch your breath, and that can be related to mold as well. Symptom number 2 is in terms of brain function, can be related to headaches. So having chronic headaches can also be related to mold, even light sensitivity. So for people who have chronic migraines and they have the aura before the migraine, can also be related to this. And poor memory even, so difficulty finding words, and that cognitive ability can be, severely compromised with mold toxicity, with difficulty concentrating as well, and even dizziness and vertigo can be related to mold toxicity. Symptom number 3 in terms of muscle and joint function, so fatigue and weakness in the muscles and in the joints, also feeling stiff in the morning and having joint pain, especially first thing on waking, can definitely be related to mold toxicity. And unusual sensations in the skin, so this could be related to the nerves as well, with tingling sensations and numbness in the extremities, so that could be in the hands, it could be in the feet, in the legs, can also be related to mold toxicity. Symptom number 4 is digestive issues. So definitely if there's a lot of, digestive upset, it could be IBS types of symptoms with diarrhea and frequent bowel movements, but also constipation, gas, heartburn types of, inflammation in the digestive tract, also overt abdominal pain and bloating, and even an increase in urination. So an increase in frequency of urination can be related to mold toxicity as well. Symptom number 5 is your appetite. So you could have appetite swings, so you could go in one direction, have a really voracious appetite, but also you could have a very low appetite with mold toxicity. You could have a lot of cravings for sugar, and this is commonly found, especially if you've got a compounded candida issue, which is fungal as well in nature. And you could have an increase in thirst, but also there could be a bit of a metallic taste in the mouth. This often goes hand in hand with heavy metal toxicity, so things like mercury toxicity often go hand in hand with mold toxicity, which is something that I talk about in another video all about mold, so make sure that you check that out if you haven't yet seen it. Symptom number 6 is difficulty in regulating your body temperature. So this is very much related also to thyroid function, but this is also related then to leptin and our mold toxicity as well. So symptom number 7 is static shock. So if you are that person that shocks very easily and it gets electrostatic shocks in your home, or if you touch someone in your home or outside and you shock very easily, this, believe it or not, can be a sign of mold toxicity. So it's something that I explained in a little bit more length in another video, but it has to do with something called MSH, your melanocyte stimulating hormone. And when those levels drop because of different aspects, and mold toxicity being one of them, it makes you more sensitive to electrostatic shock. So something to check out in my other video. Symptom number 8 is frequent infections. So we know that mold toxicity definitely will compromise our immune function, and we're more compromised in terms of having negative effects of mold toxicity if our immune system is compromised to begin with. So really important that we're taking care of our immunity and doing it in natural ways, and that's something that is definitely possible. Taking herbal medicines to be able to help to make sure that your immune system is functioning optimally is very important. And symptom number 9 is multiple chemical sensitivities. So if you're that person or someone that you know is sensitive to everything, that is a telltale sign of mold toxicity, and dealing with that immunity, but also dealing with that exposure to mold in the environment is really an important step in getting well and getting, unsensitive again to everything in your environment. So we definitely know that all of these symptoms will vary, based on the type of exposure that you have, whether it's to the molds or the mycotoxins associated with those molds, how much exposure you have, and the type of exposure. So whether that's inhaled exposure of the mold toxicity, it could be the skin contact, it could be ingested in foods, again, that you may have that hidden source of those molds. So really important to know that definitely, one person versus another person will very much differ in the type of reactions that they have to mold toxicity. So genetic defects will also play a part in how much you are sensitive to mold toxicity. So for instance, for those of you who are familiar with the MTHFR defect, there's also something called the HLA-DR defect, in which 25% of the population with this genetic mutation will actually not have the proper immune system reaction to defend itself against molds and the toxic mycotoxins from the molds. And these can build up in the body and can then escalate the symptoms of that mold toxicity. So definitely in genetic testing, this is something that can be evaluated, especially for someone who is chronically, just not getting well after that mold toxicity. Also, age will play a factor in this, and overall nutritional status in someone, in terms of how well you're eating. If you're addicted to carbs and sugars and all the junk foods, you're definitely not going to do as well as someone who's eating a healthier diet in terms of that mold toxicity. Also, your environment plays a part of this, and where you live, how much EMF status and that radiation that is affecting you is something that's really important as well. And if you have underlying infections already existing, candida and its biofilms is definitely a factor when talking about your exposure to mold and how much that will actually affect your overall health. So this is concerning. It's definitely something that you want to address, and to do it, of course, naturally. That's what I'm all about. That's why I have other videos with tips as to how to deal with that mold toxicity in your body. Make sure that you check it out so you can find some relief. I hope that you've learned something new. I would love to hear from you in the comment section below. Also, be sure to share this video with someone who needs to learn this information. And I appreciate a big thumbs up. So please, and thank you for all of your positive support. And if you're new to my channel, welcome in. I hope that you'll subscribe and also click that bell so you'll turn on the notifications so that you get my newest and my latest uploads, which happens every single day of the week. And remember to always take good care of your health and do it naturally. Thanks for watching today.